Welcome to Lifting the Line, a construction contracting podcast.
Here at Lifting the Line, I'm Ali, and we've got Andy from Brickies Network, and we've got Woon. It's so great to have you, Woon. Looking forward to what we're going to tackle today.
Yeah, it's so great to be here. Thanks, Ali. Thanks, Andy.
So we are a building industry podcast, and we talk about all things related to building, construction, contracting, health and safety, any of the new legislation that's coming through, running a business, basically anything that can draw back a connection to building and construction. So I thought we'd have a chat about workplace stress, given that you can speak to that. But yeah, what could you say and introduce yourself to let everyone know who you are?
Yeah, sure. So I've been out of Victoria Police now for 18 months after a 23-year career. For the last half of my career, I was at the Critical Incident Response Team, and I started off as a basic operator in that unit, completed my close personal protection, then I became a siege hostage negotiator, and then I worked my way up to senior command. And just before I left VicPol, I spent 6 months with the mental health unit, re-educating all of Victoria Police in a program called PRIME, which is police responding in mental health events. So, and then prior to that, I was in the what's it called now? Sexual Offences and Child Abuse Investigation Team. So I did that for 3.5 years. And in my first 10 years, spent time in plainclothes policing and other various roles as well. Didn't do a lot of time in general duties, probably to my demise. I didn't have the grounding like most coppers had. So I kind of stayed around the periphery of general duties most of my career, which might have landed me in different roles that, I probably wouldn't have been. But as far as stress, yeah, absolutely.
I'm thinking about all the things you're saying, thinking, man, talk about stress. I mean, my background is in teaching. So, there's a whole heap of info around what teachers struggle with. And Andy, you're in the building industry and there's that. So yeah, work-related stress. I mean, there's a lot of commonalities across all the different industries, but I know each industry has its own unique stresses.
Yeah.
I thought, so when people experience stress,
Yes.
what's happening for an individual when they're under stress?
Yeah, I think lots of things is happening, and there's a lot of contributing factors. And I can only speak to it from my own personal experience with, I guess, stress or burnout or and that exhibited itself in different ways, numbness, disconnection, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think most of us in any industry, I think we don't see the warning signs till it's almost too late.
Yeah.
So for me in 2017, I was the recovery commander for the Burke Street massacre when a car was driven down Swanson Street and Burke Street.
Yeah.
And I was at the Footscray Market testing out some gas munitions with my team, the training cohort, the training team. So we always have an operational team training team. And that training team is always ready to respond. And on that day, we were required. And
so, I mean, I remember that day. The footage on the, news was pretty graphic, wasn't it?
yeah.
And it pretty much got reported on for days.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just to recap, a guy just went loose, didn't he? Cut loose and just drove down the centre of Burke Street Mall and injured and took people's lives.
Yeah. It was interesting because, it's gone through the coroner's court, as you know. So everything that I speak about is public record now. It's interesting because I think in hindsight, the trauma actually came from the fact that we could have done something. Because I think most of the general public understand that there was some erratic behaviour maybe a few hours leading up to that. But the reality is that he was erratic and came to our attention days before. So it was interesting because our what's that word? Our rules of engagement
Mm.
were a lot different then.
Mm.
And you probably know, most people would know, that the coroner is not there necessarily to prosecute anyone, but to make recommendations so that things like that don't happen again. And so quite often the coronial inquest is quite lengthy, and it starts to become quite obvious where the coroner is going to head to. And so organisations, not just VicPol, any organisation start to get wind of what the coroner might be recommending and start to implement changes straight away. So for Victoria Police, the vehicle-borne attack and vehicle-borne threat policy was basically rewritten during that time of that coronial inquest. So the rules of engagement now is completely different to the rules of engagement back then. And like anything, if you introduce a new, let's say in the building industry, I did a bit of plastering, so that,
Qualified plasterer. Beautiful.
Like with anything. So, back when I was doing a little bit of plastering, we had boxes, plastering boxes. So you introduce that into the industry and all of a sudden everyone uses boxes, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got the internal troweling tools and the externals, all that stuff, right? It's the same with any industry. When you introduce a new policy, a new thing, a new equipment, you often see a spike in that use. And so we went from almost having a no pursuit policy to almost pitting every car or ramming every car. So it was wild. And I saw this trend coming because prior to the critical incident response team, I was at the police academy, the Ivory Tower, they call it. And I was in charge of statewide training. So it was called the Centre for Operational Safety, or the Instructor Development Specialist Courses Unit. So we would train other operational safety and tactics training instructors. We had 132 statewide, and they would provide ongoing continuation training for every copper.
Yep.
And so every time, I was part of the semi-automatic pistol changeover program for Victoria Police, the tactical arrest options training, which is different ways of arresting suspects. So every time we would introduce something new, you'd see a spike in that.
Yeah.
And so that was typical of what happened after the coronial inquest. But on that day, I think we all know what happened, and without triggering any of your guests, ultimately 6 people died, and the last one to die was a few days after the incident. As soon as he started driving down Swanston Street, that was the trigger for us at Footscray Market to activate.
Yep.
We call it an emergency action. And so I was the commander there. And so we called the emergency action. We saddled up and we drove all our cars down, and we got as far as, because we're all trained medics, we got as far as Queen Street and Burke Street, because that's where the car ultimately stopped. And I remember getting out of the driver's seat. I'm not a great driver, but my colleagues who were in the back seat still commend me to this day. They accused me of driving manner Asian. So, but never been charged formally for it. Just interviewed many times. But so we got there, and they still say, that's amazing how you got us there that day. And I'm quite amazed with it myself, to be honest.
Sounds like adrenaline.
Yeah, it was all that, right? Yeah. And so we pulled up at Queen Street and Burke Street, and I had a moment to think. Got out of the car, another sergeant was beside me. He got out of the car, had 2 other medics behind me. And then we went to the boot, opened up the boot. I was in a Holden Commodore station wagon. And we pulled all our medic kits out and we ran down Burke Street. And our job, or my job then, was to triage who needed the most help. And as you know, basic first aid rules, once you start treating someone, you can't stop.
You can't stop, yeah.
And so, the race was on to find out who needed it most. And we were running out of resources very quickly. one thing that was really encouraging was so many people came out to help. And, decades before, we were educated around defibrillators and the importance of having those. I was so stunned to see how many defibrillators came out of buildings, so the message got through. And, by the time we got to some casualties, they were already trauma naked. So, our society have really wised on in regards to first aid and things like that. So, and I got to, I won't mention her name, but I got to the teenagers when I saw her legs, and it was in that moment that I got all these flashbacks to particularly my daughter, who was the same age, still, would have been the same age had she have lived, and another girl that I had a lot to do with at the Sex Offences and Child Abuse Investigation team. That this particular girl back in 2012, no one believed that she was being abused, but I just knew in my heart that she was. And so even though there wasn't enough evidence, and the boss back then said not enough evidence to prosecute, put in the brief for non-authorisation, I persisted in pushing it through and got it to court. And when we got it to court, she was a number of years, had passed, and she was a little bit older, a little bit braver, and a little bit angrier. So she when she was giving evidence in court, she was quite abusive, I guess understandably. And that could have been the reason why we didn't get a prosecution, potentially. But when she came off the stand and outside the courtroom, I embraced her and we had a cry together, and I said, I'm really sorry I couldn't, get you the result that you wanted. And she said, the result I wanted was that somebody believed me. And that's all she needed. And and after I left VicPol, we actually connected via just Facebook, and we've been chatting. We haven't met up or anything like that, but it's good to see that she's actually in emergency services, not policing. I won't give too much away. And she's got a couple of kids of her own, and she's living a great life. And she's living a great life because there was a wonderful woman that took her in, and she grew up in Central Victoria under foster care. Wonderful lady. And to think, being abused as a child isn't, bad enough. She was actually had to evacuate her home because of the Black Saturday bushfires.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So she's lived quite a life, right? And I guess this all ties into what we're talking about, stress and things like that, and resilience and all that. And I would say her level of resilience, having come through all of that, is probably higher than most. Just through that exposure and that learning to cope either with formal counselling or therapy or whatever, or sometimes we just develop our own coping mechanisms. And then saying that, if you're not aware, I think some of those coping mechanisms might be unhelpful and might be masking agents. And I think later on down the track, you start to unravel if you're not aware of what's happening. So I guess that was the case for me. So when Berkshire came along, I was 17 years in the job, having a pretty good career. After Berkshire and what we saw then, I focused most of my time on rehabilitating my team. And I still have team members who aren't back at work, which is really sad. From that day. And it was exactly 12 months to the day of that incident. I was catching the train from Geelong train station on the platform, which I'd done for 18 years by then. And I had my first anxiety attack as the train was pulling up, and I didn't know what it was because I've never had an anxiety attack before. And so, had blurred vision, didn't know where I was, couldn't stand up, couldn't breathe. But I had enough presence of mind to ring my best mate, who was another commander at CERT.
Yep.
And he knew exactly what was going on because he's got 10 years on me. He's been to the Special Operations Group. He's been overseas. He's a top operator. And he just said to me, can you get on the train? Do you think you could get on the train? And when you come into work, do you think you could make it to my office? And I said, yeah, I think I can do that. And so I got on the train, and as I was walking into the building, a job came over the air, because we in our office, we've got a few radio stations. One of them is like a statewide, I guess, emergency channel where any police officer can, call in an emergency. So we had to monitor the whole state. And a job came over, funny enough, in Collingwood, just around the corner from here. And so I didn't get the chance to go see Dave Stocks, my mate. We saddled up and we took off. And at the end of the job, I saw a number of missed calls on my phone, both from Dave and also our inspector, and the penny dropped. They'd worked out that I was not doing too well. And so
But do you think having that reaction but then being able to also turn around and go do a job was also an indicator that you weren't coping because you were able to flip so quickly from one thing to the other? Because that's an extreme difference of being under that weight and pressure with your panic attack and then 20 minutes later, 30 minutes later, turning around and going and run to an aid to do a job like that.
It is and it isn't.
Yeah, right.
So what I do now, I spend most of my time now after leaving Big Pole in the high performance space with athletes and corporate athletes.
Oh, yeah.
And so what I've learned, so I left Big Pole. I wonder if do you want me to finish that story for you?
Actually, I would because
But then I'll circle back to that because I think there's something in it for anybody and everybody. So after Collingwood, I spoke to Dave and my inspector, and they said, come in. And I refused to come in because I knew that they knew there was something wrong.
Yep.
And so
fearing consequences?
I think so.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I know so.
Yep.
Thankfully, there was a job in Mornington that got called over that state channel. So I started driving there. And that was when I was ordered to come back in. And if you disobey an order of a superior officer, you can get charged for disciplinary reasons. So I went in, and I remember standing in my inspector's door. It was an inward opening, left to right door. I had my helmet under my arm, vest on, my microphone and my earpiece still in, balaclava around my neck, and holding my rifle. And he said, D-kit, because you're supposed to D-kit before you come in. And he goes, D-kit. And I said, no, I'm not going to. And he said, why won't you D-kit? And I said, because I don't know if I'll ever put it back on. And so he convinced me. He tried to make me take a few days off because, you get critical incident leave and stuff like that. And I refused to take 3 days off, refused to take 2 days off, and eventually convinced me just to take the rest of the shift off, which I did on the provision that I spoke to our psych the whole way home because I didn't want to lift. I wanted to get my own way home.
Yep.
So I was on the phone for 3 hours to our psych, and then with the intention of coming back the next day, which my boss promised. But that started a 7.5 month really, dive into the darkest days of my life. And I can only recall some of it. But the people around me, my wife in particular, said there were days, 3-4 days where I didn't get out of bed, didn't shower, didn't eat, did what I could just to survive. And every other day, if not every day for an intense period, 2 to 3 hours on the phone, just psychotherapy. trying to work out what was going on and try to get me back to work. Thankfully, I was really supported, and I guess this is a message for all employers maybe. I was given the option to either take medication or use talk therapy, and I was really grateful that I was given that time and space to make that decision.
Yep.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with medication, but I'm really thankful that I chose talk therapy and was given that, because in that process of talk therapy, I discovered something about the brain that I've never discovered before, that I never knew about.
Yeah.
And just the relationship between psycho and biology. You know, how your brain can control your physiology and how you can use your physiology to control your brain. And so it puts us back into the driver's seat. So rather than letting life happen to you, you make life happen. And so I went down deep rabbit holes around, you know, just the capability of the brain and its function and the chemical reactions and the neurology around the brain and how it's all hooked up to your limbic system, and that's why we get gut feelings and all that stuff.
Yep. Because most people are very unaware of those little signals that your body or your brain's telling you.
And I guess I'm saying you were unaware of that, weren't you?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
It was like an awakening or something.
It is an awakening, and one that I wouldn't have had if I didn't have that situation happen to me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it, right? I think whilst we're in the midst of struggle, whilst we're in the midst of challenge, you know, we don't want to be there. But if you allow yourself to push through, the level of insight that you have afterwards, rather than running from the pain, but leaning into the pain, I think the reward that you get on the other side, it's like I see the world completely differently now. And it's such a gift. It's such a gift.
Yeah.
And I wish I knew now what I knew then, because I would have been such a better police officer, you know, a better dad, you know, a better husband, a better son, a better friend, you know, a better human being.
Yeah.
You know, and I wouldn't have had this gift if not for all the hard times. So that's why I left VicPol. I left VicPol because I became deeply interested in study, in understanding human behavior, in, you know, trying to, I guess, be there with people to help them reach their potential. Because I believe, you know, we're all here for a purpose.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we can get so caught up in life that we miss the point of it all.
Yep.
And so I have the amazing privilege now to walk with so many different types of people in different types of environments, in different types of situations, and the places I find myself now in, it still blows my mind. So, you know, again, without being too specific, in case, you know, anyone knows this person, but only 2 days ago, I was spending time with a young person, younger than me, who is it's fighting cancer, young family, great career. And basically the context of it was, can you coach me to the end of my life?
Yeah, wow.
And
That's a big ask.
But a privilege.
What a privilege, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And my job is not to go in with a preconception that actually is the end of your life, right?
Yeah.
My job is just to go in there with open ears and open eyes and an open heart, and to look beyond their conscious into their unconscious. Because sometimes what we say, because language is so important, sometimes what we say is just a protection mechanism.
Yep.
And so I had the general context of what that conversation was about dying. But we left that conversation talking about life and hope.
Yeah, right.
And he left that conversation saying to me, thank you, because I've got so many supportive people around me that are sympathetic and empathic to my situation. But nobody had kicked me up the arse to say I've still got a life to live.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And the reality is that if you lean into that, and I borrow the words from Viktor Frankl in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, he who has a why to live for can overcome almost any how.
Yeah.
And so that's that psychobiology. If your why is strong enough, you will live.
Yep.
And so what I realized in that conversation, that his unconscious was speaking to me, that he had hopes and dreams that were given to him by, you can call it God or whatever. There were hopes and dreams that were given to him that now seem dead because of world circumstances, fleshly circumstances. But does that negate the fact that that was true when it was given to him? I don't believe that. And so to link him back to that purpose, and it's a big dream.
Yeah.
A big dream that's going to be very beneficial to so many people. To link him back to that, to make his why strong enough, I believe that changes, and we were talking about it, Ali, before we came in here, about neuroplasticity.
Yeah.
I believe it changes the molecular structure of your brain, which affects your body. And I believe that those cells, those chemical reactions and whatever, that why is strong enough to keep you living. And Viktor Frankl, not just Viktor Frankl, but Alexander Solzhenitsyn, who was in the Gulag archipelagos, all that, the Gulags, spoke about it. And there were two different people that didn't know each other.
Yep.
And they observed people who died and had seemingly no hope and nothing to live for. And both of them talk about those who lived is because they had a purpose. And even Viktor himself, his why was to see his wife again.
Yep.
And that was strong enough to get him through.
Yeah.
So the neuroplasticity, I just think of plasticine, right?
Yeah.
It's something that's kind of moldable. It's not rigid or stuck. It's able to be moved and adjusted. So, a trauma can affect that neuroplasticity and move it in a certain direction. But you're also saying that why, or the positivity, or the way of like perception can also adjust that plasticity. How would you, I've just said it that way. How would you articulate what I just said?
It's a really good circle back to what we were talking about before. So one of the most popular programs I get asked to run now for executives and athletes and corporate athletes is emotional intelligence.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And emotional intelligence is not a given thing. It's actually, depending on which model you look at, it's a culmination of 10 core skills, right?
Yep.
And the fact that they're skills, it means that we can all develop it.
We can learn them.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
It's something that's really lacking in construction a lot of the time too. You find when you're working on site, a lot of masculinity is a lot of, this is us. The emotional intelligence is a lot of times is lacking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And it goes back to the first thing that you said before, your comment was it goes back to self-awareness. If you don't know, where you are, you don't know where to go, right?
Yeah.
So you need to know where you are. You need to have a really good hard look at yourself. And one of the tools that we use helps people do that. And it's really insightful. And, I've sat there with many people, and the realization after receiving their own profile reports and things like that, some of them really break down in tears because they've been honest in the process.
Yeah.
Particularly when you compare yourself to your peers, it's quite often we'll do it in groups.
Yeah.
And it's really important that we create a environment where it's psychologically safe as well. Otherwise, you can really hurt people. You can really traumatize people when you do that.
Yeah.
So you really got to set it up well.
Mm-hmm.
But one of those skills that we talk about, or firstly, emotional intelligence develops over time.
Mm-hmm.
If you leave it alone, if you just look at a control study, it develops over time, usually peaks around 45, drops off around 50, 60.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that's because you just become less tolerant of people.
Yeah.
You've had enough.
You got
I
less
reckon.
time, right?
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm 50 this year, so I'm thinking, maybe I'm peaking.
Maybe
I'm at my best.
Mm-hmm.
What can I say? But is it downhill from here? That's what you're saying.
Unless you're aware.
Okay.
Right. So,
Attention.
but studies also show, particularly through all these profiles that are getting done now, like thousands every day, that there are some people in their 20s that are very high emotional intelligence,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
And because they're just lean towards that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so the studies show us that you can develop it. And so there are 10 core skills. One of them is resilience, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when we talk about resilience, we talk about finding yourself in a situation where you experience a negative emotion.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I coach people who are experiencing moments of negative emotion is to switch to process. And this is what we were talking about, right?
Yeah, okay.
And so you said to me, how is it that you go from an anxiety attack
Yes.
to high performance,
Yes.
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
That's how you do it.
Yeah. I mean, I had something happen at work the other day. Difficult.
Yes.
And went and spoke to someone and they said, what do you need? I said, give me policy and process. I need to know. I need to make an assessment of myself. If I go home now left to my own thoughts, I'll be all over the shop.
Yes.
And we went back to process. We went back to policy. I could see what happened and then I could make a proper evaluation.
Yes.
It was exactly what I did.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't even know. Yeah, I just ground me.
So unconsciously, you know.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Unconsciously, you know that that's what you needed.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Still
for
doesn't
people-
fix all the other stuff that happened.
no, but what you
Yeah,
right. It doesn't
yeah.
change the circumstance,
Yep.
but it changes the way you see it.
Yeah.
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 That's the difference. And that's the power, right?
Okay.
Yeah. I think we see that in construction all the time. I know that I've seen that probably from my own experience running my own bricklaying business and see a lot of other bricklayers. They're really stressed. You can see they're not functioning. They might be using masking agents like drinking lots or drugs to get them through the pain.
Right.
But they still get up in the morning and they go out and they function and do their job. They go back to just, this is the system of what we do every day and we get through the actual practicals, but it actually doesn't change what they're stressed about.
So system of what they do every day
Mm-hmm.
is what we call rituals.
Yeah, right.
So rituals can either serve you,
mm-hmm.
yeah, or they can make you more unhealthy.
Yeah, okay.
So it's about analyzing what are the rituals in your life and how do we replace them with positive rituals that serve you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So this is what I do with clients,
Yeah.
either in groups or as individuals.
Mm-hmm.
We analyze what are the rituals, what are you doing unconsciously that you are not aware of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
And so process helps. So if you experience a negative emotion, focus on process. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When you focus on process, you realize that the negative emotions are fleeting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then you start developing a ritual of negative emotions equals process. Process means negative emotion disappears. Now I can function.
Yeah,
So you're
right.
just building rituals.
Mhm.
Now, the best example for that, and I always think about this, is Rafa Nadal.
Mhm.
Do you know Rafa Nadal?
Tennis.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
He has got a ritual that disturbs me.
Okay, radio.
So before he strikes the ball on his serve,
Does all these things, doesn't he?
he picks his
Yeah.
wedgie out of his pants and he sniffs it. And then he continues on and he does that. It's a mental reset. It's a ritual. And in that moment, he's resetting his mental focus.
Yeah, right.
He's doing a renewal of his mental mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
His mental capacity, his mental pillar, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And so this study actually came from not Nadal himself, but of other tennis players. So there's a brilliant book called The Power of Full Engagement by Dr. Jim Lair, and I think the other guy is Peter Schwartz or something like that. Now, Dr. Jim was the founder of the Human Performance Institute in America.
Mm-hmm.
He sold it to Johnson & Johnson and stayed on for another 8 years. But when he started the institute, what he did was he invited the best of the best in every industry to come and join the institute.
Mm-hmm.
One, to study and work out why they were so good at their art.
Mm-hmm.
And two, to see whether they can get marginal improvements on
Mhm.
what they were already doing so well at.
Yep.
And they had fighter pilots, they had your obvious ones like, tactical commanders, all that type of stuff,
Mhm.
Military, they all came in. But what was interesting, he had a lot of athletes there too. And the thing that caught his eye was what separated the elite tennis players to the really elite tennis players. And there was a conversation with a tennis player that went to his chair, put a towel over his head, and just sat there in between change of serves. And the question was asked of him, "What are you thinking?" "Nothing." He goes, "No, what are you thinking when you've got the towel?" He goes, "Nothing. Just nothing." And so the penny dropped for him that that was his time of renewal.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we have a limited focus. We have a limited capacity for focus and to use our mental energy system. We need to renew that as often as we can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for the ones that knew how to do that, to empty it out and then get back and then focus on process like Nadal, pick his bum, sniff his hand, throw the ball up, they're the ones that made him really elite. And it was interesting because I'm looking through life through these lenses now, right?
Yeah.
And I'm looking for evidence because this is what we do. This is what our reticular activating system does. It looks for evidence to prove whatever theory that you have on life.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so I'm looking for this in every conversation I have. And I was speaking to a hairdresser at a flower wreath making workshop that I was at recently. And she piqued my interest when she was speaking to someone else saying, when I have a client and the client comes in and I greet them and I make them feel warm and welcome and I ask them what they want and then I take them to the sink, and while I'm washing their hair, that's when I think of nothing and I count to 60. That's all I do. Yeah. And then when I sit them on their chair and I put them around, I know that when I blow dry the hair, that's 4 minutes of me just thinking about nothing. And I went, wow.
Yeah.
The real fine, like she's fine-tuned it to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
To that ritual.
Yeah.
Those rituals. Because how the conversation started was she said, "I'm a hairdresser." And I said, "You're a therapist." And she goes, "Yes, I am." I said, "Because you listen to people's stories all day long and multiple stories." I said, "How do you stay engaged? How do you stay present?" She goes, "It's really hard. But I find these moments where I just do nothing."
Yep.
And I said, "That's high performance."
It's fun,
Isn't it?
That's incredible because it's funny you say that. Like, I was a bricklayer for almost 30 years.
Yep.
And you got to a point where you were just in a rhythm.
Yeah.
And so you had to think, you get to the end of your wall and you'd have to put your line up or change the height of the line that you were laying to, and you'd set up the rest of the corner, and then there might have been 30 bricks in a row where you just picked it up and put them down, picked them up and put them down for maybe 2 or 3 minutes along that wall. You might have spread all the mortar and then you just went into this zone. And I think about it now, I was thinking about nothing.
Correct.
Absolutely thinking about nothing. And I speak to a lot of other brickies that say there's something about it. It's like cathartic.
It is cathartic.
It just makes you feel relaxed.
Yes.
And they go, "Oh, it's the best trade in the world," because you get an achievement at the end of the day, but you just feel like you're rolling along. And like, you might not be talking, there might be some radio going in the background. You've got other people around you, but for that section,
Yes.
doing nothing in your head.
So firstly, brickies are amazing. I love watching them.
Yep.
how fast they are. And you're talking millimeters to get that trail onto a brick, and that system that you've got
Yeah.
each side down. Like, it's fascinating to watch, right? It's fascinating. The other thing, as you were speaking, is that when you become so good at it, when you become so good at it, it's like you don't need to focus anymore. It's autonomous.
Mm.
And when you get into a system like that, you no longer stretch that focus muscle. And because focus and mental capacity is like a muscle, if you don't stretch it, you go into atrophy, right? Like any muscle.
Mm-hmm.
And so similar to me, the reason why I left VicPol is not because I started feeling bad or anything like that. I love the organization. I love policing. I love what policing represents in society. I believe that if you get your policing, force right, because it's such a crucial fabric of society, I think it's critically important we do that. And that's not the reason why I left. The reason why I left is because I realized that I was going into mental atrophy, where jobs used to excite me, where I used to get that adrenaline rush when the job came over our state channel, say, Sir to 103 or Sir to 401 or whatever, we're on. I got to the point where there was zero change in my heartbeat at all.
Yeah, right.
Because I knew the rhythm, like you said, yeah?
Yep.
I knew the rhythm. Just trail it on, stick it on, trail it on, stick it on, trail it on, stick it on.
Yep.
And there was I was going into atrophy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to leave to get that muscle working hard again, right? So it's interesting because when you find trade, like the whole idea, the whole aim when you become a tradie is to be the best at your art.
Yep.
To do it most efficiently and effectively as you possibly can. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that will lead you to becoming so good at what you do, you don't even need to think about it anymore.
Yep.
And so that part of your brain goes into atrophy. And I think,
Can I ask a question about like how is that different to flow? Because that flow state is also
100%.
where that. So where does it become flow state into atrophy, or like because of that? Is that connected?
100%. Yeah. Are you referring to Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's book?
I don't really read a lot, but
I don't know that book
am.
myself.
It's the artist's, pursuit of finding flow in their practice. Any medium, paint, clay, whatever.
Yeah.
To get into that flow state is just, it's like a high, really.
It's a high if you get so pick up the book Flow by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. It's another book that I reference quite a lot when I work with clients or high-performing teams. Flow talks about where you should live your life. It's the correlation and the interaction between challenge and skill. Yeah. If you have low skill and high challenge, you enter the zone of anxiety. If you are in a state of high skill and low challenge, you go into apathy or atrophy, Your boredom.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So it's about finding that flow, which goes on a 45-degree diagonal axis on the graph that he shows, is where you are in a state of optimal challenge, but not so much that you enter anxiety. So when you're in that state, you're in flow.
Yep.
And so it's like, I'll circle back to the powerful engagement and the high performance pyramid. When you enter that flow is when you're really living life, when you're feeling, I'm on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like on the edge of chaos. You've got one foot in order, things that I know, things that I'm comfortable in, and you've got the other foot in chaos. And that's where life happens.
A little bit of challenge. It's just
I
keeping
think
you excited.
the feeling when you know that your expertise is apparent, you're good at something, can feel good about yourself,
Yes.
that's a really good feeling. Because if you are in a situation where you are out of your depth,
Yeah.
you're getting pushed to your limit,
Yeah.
like it's awful. It's stressful. You feel disgusting about yourself. I don't like being in a situation where I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, and you're
Yes.
under that pressure. Yeah.
It's funny because on the flip side, when you're not getting challenged,
Yeah.
you feel like you're dying.
You know what? I've experienced that as well. So, yeah, but when you push, so I guess there's that awareness or that challenge to push through.
Yeah.
Because when you achieve under that pressure too,
Yes.
and it's been maybe hard or disgusting, it's stressful, whatever, but you can get on the other side of it and you feel like there's reward there.
There is a reward.
Yeah.
And the feeling of confidence that you can do it again.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, there's so much in that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Quite often people ask me, I'll say, why aren't you doing that now? I don't feel confident yet. I said, well, then you'll never do it. Like, why? So confidence happens from evidence. You don't have any evidence yet.
Yep.
When you do it, you'll get evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can feel confident. Then you do it more.
Yep.
And then when you do it more, it becomes normal.
Yep.
Go find another challenge.
Yep.
Go put yourself back into that growth state.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yep.
that you can continue to grow that muscle.
Yeah.
And the difference between if you're fearful of something, you can either walk around life waiting for that to happen to you. And when it does, you have a fear response. But if you choose to lean into that, you choose to engage that, a different part of your brain activates and you have a challenge response rather than a fear response.
Yeah.
Right? You do that often enough, you repeat that pattern in your life. You look for areas in your life where you will choose to challenge a fear rather than run away from it or wait for it to happen to you. And that's called courage.
Yeah.
So you develop a rhythm of courage that is that makes itself apparent throughout all areas of all domains of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when you look at courageous people, you're like, man, you must have been born courageous. He goes, no, I've just developed a pattern of leaning into my fears rather than letting life happen to me. I make life happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting you're saying that because when you're painting that picture and you're telling that story, I think about when I became a bricklayer.
Yeah.
And I used to call it like the hierarchy of competence, but I don't know if that actually exists. Where you start out, you're doing your apprenticeship and you don't know what you don't know.
Yes.
And then you get to a point where you've been doing it a little while and then you're quite conscious you don't know.
That's right. Yeah.
And then you get to the point where you go, I know, but I've got to get good at it. So I've got to keep practicing. And then you end up being qualified or you've been in the job a while and you don't know what you know.
Yes, correct.
And you've got to that point. But when I think about that, I did that as a bricklayer and felt like I was a good tradesman.
Yes.
And then I went out and started my own bricklaying business,
Yes.
which is another thing altogether. And then I was right back at, okay, I know what I'm doing on the job, or I don't know what I know.
Yes.
But then I'm a business owner where I don't know what I don't know
That's
because
right.
I've moved into that and then had to creep my way along and learn all of those things.
Yes.
But I look at a lot of trade businesses and they're great tradesmen. They've got to be in that position where they don't know what they know,
Yes.
start the business, and then they completely shit their pants.
Yes.
I've read statistics that actually at that point is when it's a higher rate of leaving that position or job or, changing jobs again because they become aware of what they don't know. It freaks them out
Yeah.
and they might jump ship or go start something else again.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like the amount of guys I know that are running bricklaying businesses, and we deal with these guys every day at Brickies Network. I'm like, you just need to learn some new skills.
Yes.
Just because you know how to do that part of it doesn't mean you know how to run the business side of it.
Yes.
You've got to go. It's like you're back at square one, and they're like, oh no, I don't want to learn that, or they just avoid that and it ends up imploding. They expand their business really quickly. They don't learn any of the business side of it.
That's
and
right.
then suddenly they rescind back to being in the comfort zone again.
Yes, correct. Yeah. And so so many analogies I can use now.
Any involve
Well,
animals?
One foot in order, one foot in chaos, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So what you're talking about is the unconscious competence. So you get so good at your skill and you become unconsciously competent with it. It's hard to work with unconscious competence. So what I tend to do with clients and with teams or whatever, we need to bring them back to that conscious competence space because that's where we grow. Because you've got to be completely aware of what you're actually doing. So quite often you'll get elite athletes and they don't make great coaches. The great coaches are the ones that didn't have any natural ability but had to fight their way up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to learn everything step by step. This is what I did. This is what I did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because they understand they can break it all down, right? Because they're still in that conscious competence or that conscious incompetence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They still understand, which means they have an affinity with the learner and they can teach the learner, right? So what you've just explained that then was you had both foot in order because you became a great tradie.
Mm-hmm.
Then you took one foot and put it in disorder, which will start your business because unconsciously you knew that you needed to get into that flow state. I need to grow. Yeah, I need to grow. Sometimes if you rush that process, you end up in 2 feet in chaos.
Yeah.
And that's when you go back to Egypt. That's when you go back to captivity. Does that make sense? The place that you wanted to flee. Yeah?
Yeah.
The place that you wanted to flee, you end up in the desert, wandering around thinking, what the heck am I doing here? And then you just want to go back to captivity where you were. Yeah?
Yeah.
But
It feels safe.
well,
It's what you know.
better the devil you know.
Yeah.
Better the devil you know. Yeah.
How many people don't step out for the fear of that, I suppose? They stick with what they know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean.
And the fear is not the unknown.
No.
The fears change.
Yeah.
The fears change.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the more you reinforce the pattern in your life, the change leads to positive outcomes, you start embracing it.
Yeah.
So clients that I've worked with for a while now, we're stepping to what we call free fall, jumping out of a plane without a parachute. And if you live life like that, the opportunities are endless.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We had another guest on the show and she talked about some statistic around how many opportunities we get on a weekly basis if we are eyes open, that we see those. We think that opportunities come once every 6 months.
Yeah.
But actually her research was saying that opportunities are weekly, sometimes daily, if we could see them.
And if you set yourself up for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to set yourself up for it.
Yeah.
So we were talking about negotiations before.
Yeah.
You can't negotiate unless you've got another option.
Yes. Yes. And that's what we were talking about before. And if we're talking about in bricklaying, when you're running a bricklaying business, you're working for a builder or a developer.
Yep.
And there's sort of nowhere else to go with your skill if you can't get work with that builder or developer. So you know that you need to charge a bit more to cover all your costs, but that builder's telling you this is the price they're going to pay. Most bricklayers don't feel that they can negotiate with that client or that builder or developer because they've got nowhere else to go. There's a fear of, if I don't work for that person, I've got nothing. And if they're running a bricklaying business, they've got staff working for them. They're doing all these, they've got all these other things that are reliant on the work.
Yes.
They can't negotiate. What would you do in a situation like that?
So there's a lot in that.
Yeah.
You started and ended with nowhere else to go.
Yep.
So the practical solution is find somewhere else to go first. And you might not leave where you are, but if you have a viable option to leave, you can negotiate.
Yeah.
So it's exactly the same as hostage negotiation. So when I speak to a hostage taker, there needs to be a threat of force. Mate, there are 12 elite tactical operators out here that have been briefed up and been given the green light that if you touch anyone in there, they're going to come in, they're going to take you out. I don't want that to happen. So talk to me. You've got another option. Either that could happen or you can speak to me and we can walk out.
Yep.
So you need to have a threat of force.
Mm-hmm.
So when I coach, this is the sad truth. At least once a week, I have active members of Victoria Police reach out and say, how do I get out? Yeah.
Yeah.
And the first thing I say is, how have you set yourself up to get out?
Yeah.
They go, I want to do what you do. I said, but do you have 12 months of income behind you? Can you live without 12 months of income? Yeah.
Yeah.
In order to negotiate that change.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to set yourself up. It's like when someone says, I want a pay rise. I said, well, what's your other option? He goes, I don't have another option. I said, well, it's not a negotiation. It's a walkover. You're going to get steamrolled.
Yeah.
I said, if you want to negotiate a pay rise, go find another job, apply for it, get the yes, then go to your employer and say, this is what I'm worth.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And they'll either say yes, and then you say no to the new opportunity, or they say no and you've got the opportunity.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're hoping, and hope's not a great strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah? You got to set yourself up before you have those conversations.
You got to feel like you're in a position that the outcome of that negotiation is not going to affect you in the long term.
Or detrimental in
or
some way.
detrimental.
And not just to you.
Yep.
So now we're going to talk about ecology. Are your decisions ecological? Are they going to work not just for you, but for your family, for your kids, for your spouse? Yeah. So the decisions that we make needs to be ecological. And so to circle back to what you were saying before, some people live in that unconscious competence space where they're really good at their trade. Yeah.
Yep.
But we know that there's a driving force within us that says, I want to keep improving in life.
Yeah.
That gets trumped if you know your why. So people can still live a very healthy mental life, living in that space where they go to work and there's no stimulation, if their why outside of work is strong enough.
Yeah. Yep.
And that why could be family, provide for their family, provide for their kids, get their kids through education because they're, private school because, that's a value that they hold.
Yep.
Their annual holiday, whatever it might be. Yeah. Or someone at work that they go to every day because they know that for that colleague, that other brickie, that there's no one else in their life. Whatever.
Yeah.
Right? You need to have a strong enough why to keep you there. Right?
Yep.
For you, it sounded like you needed more challenges. You've grown in that space. You're no longer in flow. Your skill is high. Your challenge is low. I need to do something else.
Yeah.
So I'll start a business. That makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yep.
Then you went into that flow state. I'm learning. Oh my gosh, it's a little bit chaotic, but it's exciting. And,
And there was a challenge all the time, but looking for solutions to the problems is probably what got me through that I could say, actually, there's a solution to this. Or this is a different way of doing it that we used to do it.
Yeah.
That's giving me a better financial outcome, or it's giving me more hours outside of work that I can actually devote to my own self.
Yeah.
What I'm finding, speaking with a lot of bricklayers at the moment, is that they've got a bricklaying business and they've done that for a long time and it's kind of worked, but maybe not as been as financially successful as they. Now work's slowed off a little bit.
Yeah.
They're like, nah, I'm not getting anywhere financially. It's just more of a challenge.
Yeah.
I think I'm just done with it.
Yeah.
But there's so many other people reliant on them, and there's a bit of an ego involved that, like, I work for myself, I run my own business, and that probably holds them back from making a change and getting out of it. They'll be financially disadvantaged and extremely stressed.
Yes.
And under a lot of pressure and not being probably a good father or a good husband or whatever it is because they're entrenched in that. But this ego or this pride that I work for myself, I run my own business is holding it back, where they could have, if they dropped that and just said, I'm actually just going to go back and be a tradesman for a while and reset and get into that flow.
Yes.
That would be really beneficial, but they can't do that. And they drive everything into the ground to hold on.
they can't, or they perceive that they can't, or have they not set themselves up so that they can? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. There's probably they perceive that they can't,
Yes.
and definitely they may be feeling like they haven't set themselves up to be able to
Yes.
step back. They've either been addicted to the cash flow or they're reliant on the cash flow, whether there's any profit involved.
Yes.
And they're not in a. If they do step out of it, they know that they're probably even going to be worse off, or perceive that they're going to be worse.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, there's so much in that.
Mm-hmm.
You know Lennon Cohen?
Yes.
He
Yep.
wrote Hallelujah?
Yep.
You know they wrote a song called Captain? The Captain?
I reckon I do. I reckon.
Yeah.
I don't know the song. I know a couple of his songs, but not
Don't
that
waste
one.
your time. It's awful.
Okay.
There's a line in it,
Uh-huh.
and it says, "There's no decent place to stand in a massacre." What does that mean?
No decent place to stand in a massacre. Means run.
It means that sometimes we find ourselves in a position in life,
Gotta get
there's
out.
no good decision to make.
Oh,
Every
golly.
decision is a bad
Yeah.
one.
Right, yeah.
So it beggars the question, how the heck did I get here in the first place? Carl Jung said, unless you take the unconscious and make it conscious, it'll direct your life and you'll call it fate.
Mm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So
That-
when you find
that rings
yourself
true.
in a position that you're stuck in, you got to think about how the heck did I get here,
Mm.
right? And the one person that I think about when I mention that, I won't say his name. And I won't even say his industry, that his job circumstances changed where he had to ship his family from Melbourne up to Queensland, far north Queensland, right? And he didn't want to go. And I said, then stay. He goes, I've crunched all the numbers. I have to go. My car's on a novated lease, had a nice car.
Mm-hmm.
I've got all these loans and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't go, I go bankrupt.
Mm.
So my immediate thought was, you didn't set yourself up right. Did you need a 150 grand 79 series Land Cruiser, or could a Mitsubishi
Yeah.
Triton?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because had you have had the Triton that you could have paid outright for 25 grand instead of novating leasing a 79 series Land Cruiser,
Mm.
you might have had a different option presented to you now.
Yeah.
Mm.
You might have been able to say, no, I'm going to go find something else.
Yeah.
Had you have stayed in a 4-star hotel instead of a 7-star hotel when you're
Yeah.
going to visit the Taj Mahal in India, had you have had more options presented to you now, could you have said, well, do you know what? I'm actually got enough to live on for 12 months. I don't have to make that decision.
Yes.
So
I mean-
how are we setting ourselves up to make
Mm.
decisions in the future?
Yep.
Yep.
So that's what
So
Carl
we're not
Jung
locked
said.
in.
To give yourself
Because
freedom.
every single thing that you're mentioning locks you in.
Everything.
It's the,
Everything.
paying more for a house that you
100%.
thought that you were going to be able to sustain, the car or all the other mod cons.
All that.
Yeah. And you've been able to maintain it for a while, but now it's actually trapped you into that
It's trapped you.
situation. You
That's
can't
right.
move. You've got no wiggle room.
Life happens to you rather than you making life happen.
Yeah, and
It
like
puts
for
you
the
in the
most
control
part, you
seat.
think you've got control of it.
Correct.
That's the deception there too,
100%.
because redundancy can happen, and I've
Everything.
heard of quite a few stories where that's kicked people in the
Yep.
face. Like,
Yep.
yeah, so
So this is a good segue because
Yeah.
when life happens to you,
mm,
you're reactive. When you're
yes.
reactive, your limbic system activates.
Okay.
Your limbic system is where you house your amygdala. And when life happens to you so hard, you get amygdala hijack, which is why people have anxiety attacks because they're out of control.
Yeah, right. So that's sort of that's the step that gets you there a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so how do we set ourselves up so that we are responsive instead of reactive?
Mm.
How do we make life happen instead of let life happen to us?
Yes, how?
We got to do that now.
Yeah.
We got to set it up now.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Got to actively think about it.
You got to plan. You got to actively think about it. You got to be in control.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Look, I think of, you were talking about negotiations and things like that and having another option.
Mm.
I think too, for me, and maybe it's something I feel like women struggle with a lot more than men is just saying no. So there's part of that nature that wants to be generous and kind and, supportive and caring.
Yeah.
And the words push comes to shove is like what I've been thinking about with some of the other stuff that we've been talking about. And I think there's that moment where I've experienced this where push comes to shove and I'm like, no, I'm just saying no.
Yeah.
I'm saying no to that treatment. I'm saying no to that behaviour.
Yes.
I'm saying no to these circumstances because part of me's gone along with it so long because I want to be a good person or I want to be nice or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's not even about money or, there's something in me that wants to please, I suppose.
Yes.
And maybe there's a bit of age and wisdom kicking in at some point that people call perimenopause.
Yeah.
But I would like to just say actually no.
No. Yes.
Because actually everybody else is saying no and they're having no trouble whatsoever.
Yes, that's right.
But why aren't I?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And it's choice. It comes down to choice.
Yeah.
Because choice gives you control. If you feel like you can't make a choice, that you have to say yes, you're out of control.
And that self-awareness to realise, why have I been doing that?
Yeah. And then evidence. So another thing that I say quite a lot is the reality never lives up to the fear.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. My saying is test it.
Yeah.
If that's what you think it is, test it. Test it and see.
Yes.
Because do you have any truth behind it at the moment?
100%. No, there's no evidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no evidence. So when the reality never lives up to the fear and you test it, then you get evidence at the other side going, oh, actually, that person still likes me. Or I still have friends. Or I still feel good about myself.
I can live on that budget.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can do when you got to.
Yeah, then you learn to say no more. And then your life frees up more. And then you feel happier.
And then you look around, everybody's still the same. What the heck? Sorry.
No, that's really funny about the reality doesn't meet up to
the
what
fear,
you're thinking.
ever.
The fear. I was talking to a bricklaying business owner the other day, and he'd actually contacted me about he was having some payment issues with a client.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what's in the contract? And he goes, oh, no, we haven't got a contract. I said, mate, you should really be putting a contract in place before you start the job. That way there's a clear understanding of what the payment terms are and so on and so forth. And he's like, oh, yeah, but I'd be shoving a contract in front of them. Builders don't want that. And I go, you've just said it 3 times in a conversation to me that you're shoving a contract in front of a builder's face and they wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
You have no evidence that that's going to be the case.
That's correct.
I said, how do you know that builder won't sign the contract if you've never asked?
That's correct.
You're making an assumption, but there's no evidence to prove it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So we talk about, or I talk about, really 3 things that's happening. You get the external event and you tell yourself a story.
Yeah.
So an internal representation, which affects your state. So your emotion, and that affects your physiology. And your physiology is what you project out to the world, either in speech or in your body language. Yeah. And what happens is you see the impacts of your physiology, your behavior, and when it comes back through your 5 senses again, whatever story that you told yourself, you're looking for evidence because your unconscious doesn't care whether it serves you or not. Your unconscious just wants to be right, or your reticular activating system just wants to be right.
Yeah.
Because it always comes down to control. If I can't control the situation, I can at least control that I'm right. Yeah. If this person is a bag of crap, I'm going to look for evidence that he's a bag of crap. And even though I don't like speaking to a bag of crap, I knew that I was right that he was.
Yeah.
So it puts you in control. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so it goes back to Carl Jung. Unless you're completely aware, you're going to project the fact that you think that person is a bag of crap, and you're going to get evidence of that, which reinforces your internal representation of what's going on, which reinforces your state and reinforces your physiology, and you project it back onto that person. And it's called self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Right? So what story can we tell ourselves? Yeah. So the cool thing is that your internal representation, your state and your physiology, you can start with any of those. So you can start with your physiology and change your state.
Mhm.
Yeah. Or you can change your state and you'll impact on your internal representation or your physiology. And this is why when people say, can you coach me into public speaking? I say, first thing I say is go do a power pose in the mirror. Go do a power pose in the mirror and tell yourself, explain to yourself the person that you want to be. So they're telling themselves the right story and their physiology has changed.
Mhm.
What does a confident you look like? Oh, well, it looks like my shoulders back. It looks like this. It looks like I'm looking straight. I can maintain eye contact. I do that in a bloody mirror. And they do that. They do that for 5 minutes and they come out and they're a different person. Their voice changes. Their speed changes. The timbre of their voice changes.
Yeah.
Their body language changes and they're a different person.
Mm.
Because you can affect your state by changing your physiology. And likewise, the opposite.
Mm.
Yeah, and circles back to what we said right at the start. You're in control.
And do you think, you know, because we talked about self-awareness, is self-awareness also that when I think about steps towards change and making decisions, you talked about resilience being one of those core things in the 10, that like self-awareness becomes one of those steps towards change. Because I'm just thinking about, you know, Andy makes business presentations to, you know, bricklayers, and majority of the time, every single one of them knows that they want to make a change or make a decision, or like, you know, they know there's something that they need to improve on. And, you know, speaking to the person who's ready to make that change.
Yeah.
But then there's always people who go, oh, no, I can't take that step. Like, what makes the difference between somebody who's ready and someone who's not?
Preparation.
Like, okay, preparation. We've talked about that.
Because you can't, you can fake it. You can't really fake it till you make it, right? You can fake it in the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's going to fall apart if you haven't prepared. You still got to do the work.
Yeah.
I can't stand up there, you know, and talk about a topic that I don't know about.
Yeah.
I can't go to the toilet and look in the mirror for 5 minutes and tell myself the right story and then get out and think I'm going to do any good at talking about a topic that I'm not prepared for. Right?
Yeah.
So you still got to do the homework.
Yeah.
You still got to do the preparation. You still got to make sure that you've got another builder lined up, all that type of stuff. Yeah?
Yep.
When you go and have that conversation. And that's like, no, thank you. That's my offer, but thank you. I want $5 a brick now, not $4 a brick. But thank you for everything that we've done in the past.
Yep.
But I've got a $5 a brick offer and I'm gone. You got to have that, right?
Yeah. Or either you've got to be, or either the other, if you haven't got an option, you've got to be comfortable with not having that other option.
Correct.
And opening up that space to maybe find other options.
That's such a good point. Yeah. It might not just be about getting a better price. Yeah. Because you might be like, you know what? That's the push I needed. I want $5, and I don't know how much bricks cost nowadays, but I want $5 a brick. You're giving me $4 and you say you can't go to $5. That's the push that I needed to go back to university to study because I actually just, I want to be an accountant.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, you know, And so you make a really good point. It's not just apples and apples. It could be apples and oranges.
Yeah.
So it could be, that could be the push I needed to get out of the industry altogether. You know what I mean?
Exactly right. Like I sit there and talk to bricklaying business, and they're sitting in that situation. Oh, this is all the builder's saying he's going to pay me. And I'm sitting there going, okay, the builder's telling you he's going to pay you $1.60 a brick.
Yeah.
But we've already had a conversation, or you've done some calculations. You know your break-even point before you're trading insolvent or going backwards is $1.90.
Yeah.
If you keep accepting that work there, you're either going to have to be non-compliant and do some dodgy things and not pay bills, or not pay entitlements, or start getting a tax bill, which is going to hurt you even more in the long run.
Yeah.
Is it better to just cut it off now, go and find something else, do the pain now, or you're going to do the pain later because there's going to be pain somewhere? Yeah. And they're the discussions I have with guys, and they're just like, oh, it'll be right. We'll work our way out of it. Actually, the numbers say you can't.
Yes.
You've got to accept that it's no good.
Yes.
So the narrative you can be telling yourself could be deceptive, couldn't it? Because you were talking about that stories we tell
Yeah,
ourselves.
that's right. Oh, very.
Yeah, are we? Yeah, we're quite often we're deceiving ourselves with our own narrative, aren't we?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
No, we're doing it all the time. And it's happening because we've got a limited capacity to consciously focus on stuff. Right? So in the same book flow, it talks about at any given second, there's 2 million bits of information that's bombarding our 5 senses. Yeah. Out of the 2 million bits, we can only focus on, some literature says 127, but the book says 134. 134 bits per second. For me to speak to you right now, it takes up roughly 80 bits per second. So we don't have much left in our bandwidth to do anything else.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So this is why military, tactical, anything like that, we work in teams because not one person can do everything.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's so much to focus on, right? It all comes down to focus capacity. And so what happens is in that 134 bits, yeah, that's what we tell ourselves the story because that's all we can focus on. And then our reticular activating system looks for evidence to go, hey, your story was right. So you choose what you focus on. If you focus on the fact that this person likes me, you'll find evidence that they like me and you'll project the fact that you like them too because they like you and then you end up in a positive state. If you do the opposite, you'll get exactly what you put out, right? So it's about that because I'll give you an example. Right now, so what we do with that 2 million bits, we delete stuff that's irrelevant, right? Right now, it was irrelevant that the fact that you can hear that humming from the air conditioning.
Yeah.
It was irrelevant. You didn't need it.
Yeah.
So your conscious mind deleted it. But now that I've made you focus on it, you won't stop hearing it.
Yeah.
That's life. We choose what we focus on
Yeah.
through the stories that we tell ourselves. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we can control our lives. We can put ourselves in the driver's seat. Yeah. And again, it goes back to what you're saying. You can't fake it. You got to prepare for it. Have I set myself up to have these conversations with builders? Have I put myself in the driver's seat? And exactly what you were saying before, we're not in control of the response that I get.
Yeah.
I'm in control of the options that I provide myself before going into that conversation.
Yep.
So how do I create more options to put myself into control?
Yeah.
Because if that doesn't work, I'm in control to choose another path.
Yeah. It's funny when you say that. And when you say you're not in control of the response you're going to get in a conversation like that with a builder, if you're asking them to sign a contract. When I talk to bricklayers, I go, you've got no evidence for that. You're actually, and you're not in control of what they say, but you're thinking that what they say will be negative.
Yeah.
Where I actually say to them, if you're asking a builder to sign a contract for the job and they say no, that's actually a really positive response because it's telling you that something's wrong. They're not prepared to sign on the dotted line to say they're going to pay you in 14 days at the end of the job.
Yeah.
It's good to know that.
Yes.
You know, that's actually really positive because you probably don't want to work for someone that won't agree to pay you.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
But their perception is it could be negative if I challenge that, or well, then he might not give you the work. Well, actually, do you want the person's work if they're not going to agree to that?
Yes.
Like, so it's actually positive. It's not negative.
That's right. So that's changing your story. And if you go into the interaction with a negative story saying they're not going to like it, your RAS is picking up on senses that they're not liking it, and it will just confirm the fact that you know that they're not going to like it.
Yeah.
The other thing is, it skipped my mind now, but it will come back to me. No, keep going. Yeah.
So that I always see it as it's a really positive thing.
Yeah.
That's the main thing about it. Like, and how does that situation and that mindset framing, how does that relate back to if you're in a negotiation situation?
Yes. Okay.
When you're the negotiator, how would you think like that?
Yeah. So that's exactly what I was going to talk about. So in negotiations, the reason why they call negotiators is because they're unsuccessful in trying to ask someone to do something that they didn't want to do. And you can apply that theory to anything in life, right?
Yep.
So what do you think the difference is between a negotiator coming in to take over from a general duties police officer or a detective that's speaking to someone that's behind a door or in a manhole that doesn't want to come out? What do you think is the secret sauce that negotiators bring to the table when that happens?
I reckon investment in outcome.
Yes.
Like if you're
but
a general
how do we
duties,
get to investment and outcome? Oh, so keep going. If you're general duties,
I'm thinking if you're a general duties police officer, then it's kind of your job to resolve it. That's your job to resolve it.
yeah, that's good.
So you're invested in it,
right,
you know?
right.
Well, that's where my brain goes.
Okay, great. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Negotiators are equally as invested in getting this person out.
Skills? I'm thinking.
It's so simple.
Really? Please do tell. I'm lost.
Hit us.
It's rapport.
Oh, yeah.
Rapport.
How do I get this person to like me, trust me, and respect me?
Mm.
Yeah. And there are great books out there that if you don't believe that being a leader, that you don't need people to like you to be a leader, that's rubbish.
No, I would agree with that for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
Someone doesn't like it, they're not doing anything for you.
so the secret sauce for negotiations in any context, sieges, contract negotiations, all that, how do I get this person to like me, trust me, and respect me?
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's the source. And I actually run a program called Communicating with Influence. Because what we're trying to do is influence people. And how we do that is through building rapport. And
Sounds like you might want to get Woon to come talk to your members.
I'm actually thinking.
Yeah,
I think
it's
Woon
like
needs
ringing.
to come and be one of our guest coaches
Ding,
to our
ding, ding,
members on
ding.
one night. Yeah, that'd be great.
because there's always wiggle room.
Mm.
Yeah.
There's always wiggle room. Because if that builder likes you,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to pay you before the plumber.
Yeah.
That builder likes you. There's always wiggle room. They've got choices,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
but rapport is going to influence their choice. If they like you, trust you, and respect you.
That's amazing.
That's all it is. So my number one goal when I get up to a negotiation in any context, I've got to make them like me.
Mm.
I've got to show them that I'm a human being. I'm no longer a police officer. I'm no longer part of any team. I'm just Woon.
Yeah. That's fascinating. I've never really thought, but that's super simple.
You know, you can sit, and I've seen it in boardrooms before with corporate athletes. If they're sitting in a room and they've got the knowledge, they're the SMEs, and they've got the skill and they've got the credibility and all the tickets, and they've done the research, they've done the work, that meeting will get railroaded if people don't like them in that room.
Mm.
I've seen the opposite, where somebody is a bit wishy-washy with their information. They bring in, they do a presentation, it's a little bit off and it's not that polished, but they're in a room, even one person in that room that really likes them to have an ally, it can influence everybody else. So that's the power of rapport.
Mm.
And most times people disagree with you, not because they disagree with your facts, it's because they don't like you.
Mm. Yeah.
And most of the times when people agree with you, it's not because they agree fundamentally with what you believe in, yeah, but because they just like you.
Right.
So that's the secret sauce.
That's brilliant.
Be likable.
Yeah.
Make people like you, trust you, and respect you.
And
Sometimes I don't get the like,
Mm.
but how do I make them trust me and respect me?
Mm. Actually, you know what? As a teacher working with students all the time, you're trying to do that every single day.
You have to.
Get them on board. Yeah.
As a dad or a mum, we have to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just can't achieve what you want to achieve if you
Yeah.
can't get them on board with you. And actually, things like fear tactics and, threatening and all those other ones that people use to try and get people on board, they just don't work. And, kids particularly see right through that sort of
They
stuff.
really do.
Yeah.
They really
So-
unconsciously too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the part of the kid's brain that's actually activating before it's fully developed is their limbic system.
Mm.
So, for girls, you're lucky, 25, you get full left side prefrontal cortex development, 28 for blokes. So, for kids, it's hardly there, right? And so that's why we need to invest more in relationships with kids to build rapport, to create that environment where they will accept, what we're trying to say or do.
But like you
or
say,
correct.
the theory is no different whether you're talking to a kid or an adult.
Or a dude in there or in a contract negotiation.
Yeah,
There's no
exactly
difference.
right.
Humans are humans.
And these are skills that we can learn as well.
These are skills.
Yeah.
These are emotional intelligence
Yeah.
skills. They're communication skills. They're
Yeah.
soft skills. Yeah.
We might look at someone else who's got these skills, seems to be able to win people over or get whatever it is that they want, like their jobs and stuff. But
Correct.
if you're saying they're skills that you can learn, then maybe it just means that you need to brush up on some of those skills. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, we've got a pathway for that. It's pretty easy, really.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy.
Yes.
And in the process, 1 out of 10 people that we train, 1 out of 10 will say it doesn't sit right with me because it seems like manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
You complete the program with us and you realize that throughout the framework, throughout the pathway, it requires you to see that person as a person as well. And to see the intrinsic value of that person.
Yep.
So if you're actively looking for the intrinsic value in someone, like digging for gold, when you find the gold, it will change you as a person. And so you no longer look at them like a builder that you're trying to get more money out of. You actually see them as a human being as well.
Mm-hmm.
And when two human beings see each other for the value, intrinsic value that they have, that's where the connection happens. And so you're no longer trying to screw each other then.
Yeah.
You're trying to get the best outcome for everyone.
Yeah.
And that
Yep.
might be the outcome that you're after, or it might be something else. But you don't know unless you engage in that dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I quite often refer to the communications dialogue that's in Crucial Conversations. Yeah. It's a brilliant book. Yeah.
Crucial conversation.
Crucial Conversations, which is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep.
high stakes, high emotions, opposing views. That's what forms a crucial conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And within that book, there's a framework called the dialogue model. And what we're trying to do is create a pool of shared knowledge. Yeah. And in that, you create connection and rapport.
What was that? That was high stakes, high emotion,
And opposing views.
and opposing views. Yeah. That's
That's negotiation.
that nails it in a conversation when you're talking with the bill. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, she's smart, isn't she? It's not my wisdom.
Yeah. That's amazing. But now you highlight it, it seems really simple, but
It is simple. That's every negotiation. And it goes back to what we were saying before, Quite often I'm reluctant to tell my story because other people might find it as, I can't relate to that. But the reality is the brain's the brain. My brain doesn't care that I've been in tactical environments. My brain will trigger when it chooses to trigger, right?
Yep.
It's the same. So any fear, any uncertainty, any lack of predictability or autonomy, any lack of equity, even differences in status, is going to create a fear response in anybody. Yeah. So it doesn't matter what environment you're in. Yeah. It doesn't make, and I think to be honest, I think that in Australia, in Western developed nations, we almost don't give ourselves enough credit, and we almost don't give ourselves enough information, give ourselves any permission to be kind to ourselves. And we say things like, that's a first world problem.
Yeah.
And by saying that, it diminishes our experience.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so language like that has crept into our society, and we've become very unkind to ourselves, and we don't allow ourselves to be empathic towards ourselves, to be understanding, which impedes our ability to be empathic to others. So we got to be really careful. Language is so important. It's so important.
I'm guilty of saying that myself. That's a first world problem. To myself or to whoever I'm with, having a conversation, it's a first world problem. What am I whinging about?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This is just, I've referred to this in other conversations before about Magda Savansky. She did this show on the ABC around mental health.
Yep.
And there was an installation, because I'm really visual, so it's probably why I remember it, but there was an installation of all these little figurines, cutouts of people. And some were coloured red, some were coloured blue, more blue than red. And so it was about a particular age group. I think it was the 18 to 25-year-old around mental health, who suffers from mental health. And that of all the people who suffer from mental health, that age group was over half of that figure. And there were lots of conversations between the adults around why kids or that age group, young adults, suffer from mental health. And being a public installation in a park, people were coming past and, you can actually watch this show on the ABC, but coming past and having comments and just being interactive in that. And then someone comes along who is of that age group.
Right.
And Magna says to them, why do you think your age group suffer from mental health? Because every other adult was saying it's social media, it's devices, just wiping it with like words like that. And this person comes along and says, I feel like I'm not important.
Wow.
And in fact, what has happened with social media and all the flooding of all the world's problems coming through on that live streams is that I feel insignificant.
Wow.
And I feel like my problems aren't. So it's a first world problem.
Yes.
That, so diminishing your own thoughts and feelings about what you're going through, and you've got it every day coming through that feed that there's all these catastrophes happening around the world, which is true. It doesn't change the truth of that.
Yeah.
But that depression and anxiety and, the mental health problems are coming from just feeling, I don't know if I'm valid to feel what I feel.
Yeah.
To the experiences that I'm experiencing because it's just me.
Yeah.
And everybody else is going through hard stuff. So therefore, I'll be quiet. I won't say anything.
Yeah.
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 So,
that's so true.
Our society's stuffing it all up in lots of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're unaware, right? That's that fate thing.
Yeah.
We're just going along with it and we're like, how did we get here?
When this girl said,
it
was like everybody else kind of like went, oh, like, it was profound, really. I thought.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well done.
But I wonder whether that we get that feeling or that person gets that feeling for a reason. And we can, if we use the model that we were talking about before, whether, that's a negative emotion. And so we don't like that negative emotion. So our reaction or response should be what's processed. And so I wonder whether that could be a really great catalyst to tap into why and their purpose and what they were put on this earth for. To go, hey, I don't feel significant, and that is not a good feeling.
Yeah.
However, what should I do about that now?
Yeah, well, as a result, they're bringing the mental health training into high schools, and it's really becoming a good thing because those mental health conversations, that come up, young people want to have them because they love their friends. They want to support other young people like themselves.
Yeah.
And so, that was sort of like part of that series as well, was talking about how to bring the conversation in and how to support people and validate, yourself and others. I
think that's really important. 1, self-awareness, 2, shift to thinking, 3, teach people to be more empathic, and you don't have to feel their feeling to be empathic, and that's part of the program that we run as well. But if that program doesn't include meaning and purpose and life, as in what are you put on this earth to do, then I think it's missing a huge chunk.
Yeah, affect, change and affect.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it's we know the formula's there, right? Like the 21 steps to AA and things like that, yeah? If you miss that spiritual element, it doesn't work.
No,
It doesn't work. As much as you want to deny it, and I know with AA, it doesn't have to be a particular faith.
I know they took it out, but now they're putting it back in,
Exactly.
I think, because they realise actually it doesn't work
without it.
It
doesn't work. Yeah. So if you truly love humanity and love the people that you are providing therapeutic services to, and you don't have that spiritual element, you are doing them a disservice. And I question whether you love them at all.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You put your own preferences before theirs, before their well-being.
Well, I reckon a sign in teaching for burnout is you lose your empathy.
And because you lost your why.
And you just burnt out actually. It's like it's just scraped your layer of empathy off yourself.
Yes.
And like in order to cope with the fact that you don't have that anymore, you harden up.
Yeah. You do.
And it's damaging.
So it's interesting. Daniel Goleman, who wrote Emotional Intelligence.
Mm.
And he coined the term, but he even gives credit to other people who have come before him that talked about emotional intelligence before he wrote the book. But because he wrote the first book on it, he's the father of emotional intelligence, right? So he wrote another book called Social Intelligence, and then he's also recently written a book called Focus. He talks about 3 types of empathy: cognitive empathy, emotional empathy, and empathic concern. And what you're talking about there is usually people who join the education department, health department, law enforcement are high in empathic concern in the beginning, but then burnout happens.
Yep.
And so quite often when that happens, you lose the ability or the drive to be empathic, but you can still be empathic if you lean into the other parts
we
of
have
empathy.
talked.
Wow.
This is ringing a bell. We've talked about this, haven't we?
have,
I think.
yeah. Yeah, we have.
So you can turn the empathy on without it being a
feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can actually empathize with someone without having the feeling. Yeah, for sure.
Because the feeling can be what drains you, can't it? It can be the thing that kind of, if you're constantly feeling that all the time.
And it's also counterproductive because
Yes.
if you have that drive, that empathic drive, quite often you fall into, without knowing, into problem solving.
So, for example, I know with the research, the one of the causes of burnout for teachers is seeing children have real problems, whether they're coping with domestic violence at home, whether these children are self-harming or whatever it is. Teachers are in this role where they're seeing children have these challenges, but they can't do anything about it. And so feeling that worry every day, like you said, it's counterproductive. Like you actually, but how can you be empathetic and supportive towards that without it taking all the draining, all that energy behind?
Okay. Let me talk about this generally speaking.
Yep.
Because I know you're a teacher, I'm not.
Yep.
Generally speaking, it comes down to the story you tell yourself.
Well, I'm thinking about the day when I saw a girl's legs with all the scars and cuts.
Yes.
It deeply affected me.
Yes.
Yep.
And it will.
Yep.
And
can't stop being human.
No. And that's good. We don't want you to lose that. The story we tell ourselves sometimes is that we're the rescuer.
Yeah.
Right?
And so
if you look at the drama triangle, you've got the rescuer, you've got the victim, and you've got the persecutor. And they're deliberately provocative. There's heaps of things in between. But it proves the point. When we're being empathic, we're not rescuing. The flip side to the Karpman triangle is the empowerment triangle, where we actually stop being rescuers and start being coaches. And empathy is a skill that we use to hold the space for someone, to reflect back their emotion and their story so that they know that the person they're speaking to understands them. And we hold the space so that they can be empowered to take steps for themselves. And different for children, because children sometimes are powerless. But we talk in general terms. The reason why we can get burnt out sometimes is because the story we tell ourselves is that we have to rescue this person. And I'll give you a really practical example for when my career first started in CERT. Because I went in as a sergeant, right? And so the success of the operation was on my shoulders. So we had 1,650 jobs on average per year. Okay. Now, we resolved 98% of them through successful negotiation by building rapport. I can still count on 2 hands how many hostage situations I was actually in. So as a siege hostage negotiator in Victoria, you spend most of your time speaking to people in crisis. And we spent a lot of time on the up cranes, in cherry pickers, on the edge of buildings, on the edge of cliffs. I spent a lot of time at the Westgate Bridge until they put the barriers up. Then we moved to the Balti Bridge and Teddywin, right? So in the beginning, I thought my job was to rescue these people.
Fair.
And so what I did was we'd run up and grab them. And yay, we rescued them.
Oh, yeah.
But what do you think would happen when we took them to the hospital, to emergency department? They get assessed and they say all the right things and they get released. What do you think happens after that?
Back
And they won't give you a chance this time. They're gone.
They're gone.
So in fact, I pushed them off the ledge
Mm-hmm.
by trying to rescue them in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we spent more time on the edge of buildings, not rescuing, but empathizing and holding space and listening to them and listening to their perspective, and then holding the space so they change their perspective,
Mm-hmm.
then setting goals, short-term goals and long-term goals for them.
Yeah.
We were just coaches.
Yeah.
That's all we were doing.
Yep.
And so knowing that,
Mm.
I released myself of the burden of the outcome.
Mm.
So whether they go or whether they stay, it wasn't my role in the first place anyway.
Yeah.
My role was just to hold the space.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And so I can only speak to that generally because I'm not a teacher. I've
Yeah.
never been in that position. But you understand.
Totally. And I think somewhere along the line, I developed a story that said kids are amazing. The things that they can survive is incredible. And I, throughout the years, have started to I just will not speak a negative word about a young person. I don't, and I think society's got a lot to answer for at the moment around putting that generation down for all the things that they think they know, whatever, about, especially around social media and devices and stuff like that. But I just will believe in them because I do see them every day in the classroom and I think you so capable.
Yeah.
You just need someone around to actually say, wow,
Yeah.
good job. You can do that.
Yes.
And they might be a rabbit and a rat bag and staring up, whatever. Woon, you told me to remember you as a student actually one day. I don't know if you want to tell the story about how you maybe lit something up in the classroom.
I wasn't a very good guy. I was one of those.
Yeah.
And guess what, Ellie?
Yeah.
It was people like you is the reason why I'm sitting here today.
Well, I will look at someone who does something crazy that I just go, I could just about hoik you out and, kick you to the curb. But I won't because any money you are going to be the one who surprises me. And I go, you're going to be the one. Yeah.
And it's people like you is why people like me are here today.
Yeah.
And for me, that person was two people. It was Brother Woodruff and Lynn Wright. They were the two people that saw me through the eyes that you see the other kids. And they spoke life into me when I was a rat bag.
I think people will rise to what you say of them too.
Because
if
it's
you
your
say,
story.
you go, you are so brave. And suddenly you go, geez, am I brave?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You help them see what you see by saying it or whatever.
Life into them.
And I, the trade background too, like I'm a big believer in getting out of school if it's not working, getting an apprenticeship, getting into a trade, finding yourself something useful to do to realise, A, you're good about something, and Andy, you've shared your story before about being 15 and feeling that satisfaction when you actually made your art,
Oh, yeah.
Listen to it in another podcast, everybody. But and I just think, we got to believe more in people.
Yeah.
Is
that the bricklaying arch?
Yeah.
It's amazing. There's one piece that holds the whole piece together, the arch together.
Yep.
Is it the center one on top?
Yeah, the key in the middle.
The key.
Yeah, the key in the middle. Yeah. So,
that's amazing.
At least and people can hear it in another story. But for you, Woon, I really found my passion.
Yeah.
When I was an apprentice, and I'd built this arch at trade school.
Yeah.
And I didn't actually have a job at the time. I was doing trade school because we were in a recession in the 90s, and so I just decided to go back and do more trade school to fill in the time because there was no work. And the trade school teacher had come in and gone, "You didn't build that?" And I go, "Yeah, I did."
Wow.
Yeah, he goes, No, that must be someone else's. I go, No, spent my time doing it.
Wow.
I'm like, And I got so much satisfaction. I just went, yeah, this is for me. I love it.
And it's
And
probably,
the satisfaction,
yeah.
I reckon, because you tell it every time, is as much about the art you built, but the fact that you shifted that person's perspective of what you were
Yes.
capable of.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah, I reckon.
Mm.
I reckon.
Yeah.
I
And he
hope that
probably, from that point on, saw you
Yeah.
a bit differently.
Yeah.
But you were a rat bag teenager
Yeah,
too.
I was a rat.
Oh, yeah.
That didn't change for a while.
That didn't change for a while. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No.
Mm.
No. It's great. What a great conversation. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
been
look, I've really
wonderful.
loved it. I kind of, every now and then I'm thinking, I don't want this to end, honestly.
Yeah,
It's been
yeah.
so good. So,
It's been so much fun.
yeah,
Thank you
I
for
can't
giving us
even
a
recap
voice.
everything we've talked about
I have
because
no idea what we spoke
no,
about.
I will have to listen back to remember. So,
But it means that we're having a nice conversation.
Yes. So where can people find you if they want to maybe look at doing your program, anything like that?
Yeah, LinkedIn's always good. Send me a message.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple of business partners now. We started a company called Head to Head.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to headtohead.net, you can find us there. And yeah.
and LinkedIn, you said, and you got a unique name. So,
Yeah,
you're
I
actually
think
not
there's
that hard to find, are you?
No, Woon, I think that's the only one.
Easy to find. Thanks for coming in today, Woon.
What a pleasure
Yeah.
it's been. And thank you for giving people voices. Yeah, I think that's really important. I think that really, leans into what you were saying, helping people feel more significant. And
Yeah,
that's
true.
through being heard because
Yeah.
people are amazing.
Yeah, raising the profile a little of the building and construction industry, but the people in it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, it is important to us. Yeah, thanks.
Good on you
for-
guys. That's awesome.